David versus Goliath in a lot of ways, you feel, and maybe, just maybe, they can try and pull something out the back here.
Yeah, well, we're jumping into pick ban. First of all, they're taking away LeBlanc, commonly banned against D.Va. Must say, he's probably one of the main picks that's been banned out against him across all Prem games at the moment, so no surprise there. And also, LeBlanc's a pretty impressive mid laner in the right matchup.
Just really annoying since the rework all those patches ago. Has the excellent wave clear now, has great burst potential, has everything you might want in terms of mobility too. Just get her off the table, just do not deal with her.
Kalista going free for free. You made the correct prediction off broadcast before we started. Kalista banned every game. Guess what? Fresh is probably going to be banned again. Scudsy's Elise being taken off the board as well. Very proficient on that champion.
Whenever I think of Scudsy, I just remember his Skarner from about a year ago. When he just had a Trinity Force game, rolled over everyone. And that's what I always think of when I remember him. And I know he won't pick it up because it's just not in meta, but come on, Scudsy!
Well, I mean...
Surprise me. But they're going to ban him time. You've already seen here with the 2 bans coming through. They're definitely against Scudsy. They do not want him to have one of these power picks. Yeah, they have to take a jungler here, I feel, to deny him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Caitlyn, fair enough.
Yeah, first pick Caitlyn. When Caitlyn's been played, Caitlyn has decimated in ESL Prem matches. The Ziggs ban being banned out. That's not a ban we've seen before. We've not seen it picked before in the Prem. So it's an interesting one. Is it a target towards D.Va, or was it still residing in that weird area where Ziggs was played bot lane?
Well, Ziggs is probably going over against Croymal, I think. Other side.
Yes, of course.
But your favourite pick of the day gets through.
My favourite pick of the day. What has been my favourite pick of the day?
Taliyah.
Taliyah gets through.
You spoke about it a lot today. I think it's one of those kind of subconscious sessions.
Well, I was just obsessed with it because Taliyah has been pick banned every single game, and when it was played, absolutely decimated. So looking at the picks, Caitlyn, we talked about, rarely ever gets through. Taliyah definitely rarely ever gets through. And you've got Maokai and Gragas, which can be flexed jungle or top lane depending on the matchup.
They are terrifying front line to have. The best thing about the Maokai at the minute is you have a brilliant opportunity where if you're sieging a tower, you pop your ult and it just sweeps across the tower. Anyone who stays dies. You're tanky. You will not die to a tower.
Fight or flight yet again. And I throw it over to Enclave, Rek'Sai for Scudsy, and Jokerism's going to get the
Oh
Civ.
boy, his old favourite. He is known for a couple of seasons ago, and maybe even last season as well, just playing Sivir pretty much exclusively. Yeah. He loves Sivir.
Yeah, and it's a great pickup to have. A comfort pick to play in this lane, especially against Caitlyn. I mean, everyone knows this already. You got Sivir, you've basically got free mana against the traps. Whenever you're low, oh, just pop my spell shield, go over there. It's on exceL to capitalize when that happens, though.
Has great wave clear as well, so they can shove the Caitlyn in nice and early. And in the mid game, you pop your ult, charge in, and hopefully someone dies. That's always the fingers crossed moment that you have with her, though. Because if her ult goes down, realistically, she doesn't bring so much more to a fight. She's very short range. She will get outdone by the Caitlyn into the mid to late game. You're relying, I think, on that ultimate a lot to get the Taliyah close, to get the Rek'Sai in the mix of things as well. They've got to make sure they execute this properly.
Well, looking at the next phase of bans, Orianna taken away from the mid lane. Fresh, no surprise, being taken off the board as well. And then you've got Camille and Jarvan. I doubt that Nunu's going to go through.
Don't doubt it. Might be a thing.
Maybe.
We've seen it get picked a few times. It's quite strong at the minute. It actually got a nerf mid-patch to its base health and base health regen because you were always on full health.
So did Singed.
Yeah, but he's obnoxious as all hell.
Singed hasn't been played.
It's a bit different.
Right, nice pickup from the Trundle there.
Sensible, because there are 2 huge tanks on the enemy side. So
you're going to shred those resistances, put that up in the top lane. If you're exceL, do you put Gragas or do you put Maokai against the Trundle?
I think either way you're in for a world of hurt, but I imagine here you throw... In fact, this is a really tough one, I'll be completely frank. Yeah. Because we're starting to see Maokai quite a lot in the jungle too. Did have a couple of nerfs to his saplings, because they were just a bit obnoxious. So hard to call. I don't know.
We'll wait and see.
They've got options.
We've got options. Well, we know where that Lulu's might go, support, or it could even go mid. No. I know we've seen Energy on M&M. He likes to play attack speed Lulu in the mid lane. So we might see that again, but that Talon has been locked in the mid lane, so that's definitely a Lulu support.
Okay.
I'm just like... What? You seem stunned.
A little. I really like Talon, but he relies so much on roaming ability to make a big impact. He needs to get roaming, shove the lane in, make a roam, get some kills, join fights wherever best you can. You do have a great capability to do that with your E, Assassin's Path. You can jump over terrain all day long. You can roam as much as you like, realistically. My concern is that you've got the same thing going here for D.Va, and D.Va shoves lanes a lot better than Talon does. He'll be able to...
Talia,
tomato, so on and so forth. She can roam a lot as well. This is the issue. I think is that she will shove him in a lot quicker than he can shove her in.
Fredesta.
Hey, new one's born today. Yeah, I think she'll roam a lot more and have a lot greater impact than the Talon will, but maybe, just maybe, if he gets a small advantage from the jungler, if Taxa can make an appearance and really start getting him rolling, D.Va just will not be able to survive that lane against the Talon.
One pick we didn't actually talk about was the Karma. That's the support for Enclave, going in with Sivir, so we have got an Ardent Sensor-based support.
What a surprise.
Lulu. Well, we had Alistar last game. That wasn't Ardent Sensor-based, and you saw the impact that Adam had, regardless of the Ardent Sensor being missing, when Ardent Sensor is very strong.
Yeah, they were just happy with the comp they had, I think, in terms of having this big, beefy front line in the Alistar and just roll through them that way. Who cares about shields and supports, right? Just charge in and be a tank.
Yeah.
Why not?
It worked out great for them, but this time, Ardent Sensor, name of the game for those bot lanes. You got a Caitlyn, and you got a Sivir on there as well. So they can both get, obviously they're going to get advantage from Ardent Sensor. Somehow I feel that Caitlyn slightly more benefits slightly more from that Ardent Sensor than Sivir will do.
Definitely will, yeah. Purely because of the basis on the on-hit damage and things like that, and the attack speed buff that you get. It's just so much more worth it.
I want to, looking at Enclave's composition, they've got something quite interesting there. They've got the Karma and they've got the Sivir speed up. They've got the Talia wall to cut off behind towers, off objectives. I can see them dropping that Talia wall, the Weaver's wall, and then they can just send the speed buffs from Sivir and Karma and just ram straight into
exceL.
Nice,
solid connection.
I went straight for that. But that's exactly what it will sound like when Enclave goes straight into exceL. Now it's on exceL to put their beefy front line, block, negate, interrupt this combination. Disengage.
Big time. And they do have a lot of disengage in the Maokai and the Gragas, so it's not entirely lost on them. It just depends how they handle this. I think positioning is going to be everything in this game based on where the Caitlyn's standing, because if they go for this engage and invest all of their cooldowns getting in there, they've got nothing to do with the Caitlyn once they're actually there.
Another thing, you mentioned about positioning, you put the earnest on Caitlyn. I think it's also need to be very careful with the tanks here. If those tanks take the wrong engagement or go too deep, Trundle will just ult them, and they will just get decimated.
And just turn the whole thing around.
Yeah.
I'm fully expecting that to be the case in quite a few instances, to be fair.
But one of the benefits of having two beefy tanks is that, yes, you can get rid of one of them. You can't ult both of them. So yes, you will put one at a disadvantage, give the Trundle a lot of stats, but you will still have a beefy front line to deal with it because you went for Gragas, because you went for Maokai. So it's not a total loss having the Trundle there, but it was very important to place Igloo on this champion to negate the tankiness that's going to be output by exceL.
Now here's one thing we haven't seen for a while, double door and shield in the bot lane. Quite common against the Caitlyn, because you know you'll take quite a lot of harass. It did get nerfed to the stage that it then started costing 450, so you couldn't take 2 pots into lane. I'm just kind of concerned that, as goes for Inax, he's aware of the poke that's going to come through from this lane. Jokerism will just shove it in with his Q. You'll have Nightmares throwing down his Qs as well. And waves will be cleared very, very quickly, and you'll likely take harass if you aren't careful. So I think for both of them, it's a case of trying to be more defensive, more aware of the damage capabilities of the other side, and that you want to try and sustain this lane to get yourself towards that first lifesteal item so you can remain in that lane.
Absolutely, and it's an interesting choice to take the Corrupting Potion on Talon. I know it's a viable option for him in the mid lane. A lot of people go for the Longsword Regeneration pot, purely because it just helps them get that lethality item faster. It helps them get that Dust Blade a lot quicker because you've already got a permanent weapon rather than something that doesn't really pad your stats, just helps you with the regen. But Prem spotting out the Scudsy Igloo start, know they're doing the Raptors. On the side of exceL, Taxa, he got a little bit of assistance from the Saplings, but he's going to go ahead and clear out those Raptors of his own. You see Nightmares and Jokerism, they spent a lot of time in the river trying to potentially disrupt that. And D.Va and Krumel kicking things off in the mid lane.
Yeah, and it's worth touching on that Corrupting Potion on Krumel there. That's more just to try and sustain against D.Va, who was going to be shoving in a lot, as Talia does, wants that mana to be able to start clearing waves out himself, as well as a sustain. It feels like he's aware that just HP isn't enough to win this lane. He needs to stay here long enough that he can start clearing them out quite safely, go back, grab his item, and continue to wave clear upon his return.
Yeah, so, and I believe if the thing about the Talon-Talia matchup is, once he hits level 6, if he can dodge the knockback from D.Va, he's going to have no problems with blowing her up. His Inax takes a chunk of damage. Lucky that Nightmares got that Thunderlord's prot to really send home that push.
Yes, indeed. It's always the case at level 2 in the bot lane. Whoever hits it first tends to get a pretty favourable trade, and Taxa's in a bad spot.
There's the flash knock-up. Jokerism is here. Nowhere for him to go. And D.Va from the side. First blood going over to Scudsy.
Just caught with his pants down there a bit, it feels, on the wrong side. When you've got the enemy jungle coming out of your own jungle, the bot laner roams up, the mid laner comes down, you have literally nowhere to go. Didn't even bother burning his flash.
He's going to treat himself to the Krugs of exceL. After killing the jungler, Jokerism running low on mana. Should be able to regen that with Spell Shield, but he's really letting Inax know that he's not to be pushed around in this lane despite the range advantage for Inax.
This thus far, I mean, top lane's been one of the quieter ones too. Shikari, you know, the player we were speaking about earlier on, it's one of the highest KDs or KDAs in the Prem right now, I believe. Yeah,
of top laners especially. Has a lot of impact in there, but he's on a less of a damage-oriented champion. He's going to be on that Maokai.
Assist for days, mate.
Yeah, he's going to get assist for days, but he's falling behind on CS already. Igloo taking the corrupting potion, hasn't been on it. There's CreamEl going on to D.Va. Barrier pop as well as Ignite. He's in a terrible position. Hopefully he has taken Assassin's Path to get him out of there. I'm hoping he's going to go over that blue wall, but Scudzy, he's tracking him with the Praise of Pavilion. Got straight into D.Va, flashes out. But here's Taxa, flash engage of his own, manages to get the kill. Taliyah did flash away. No barrier there, no HP. That's a kill going over to Taxa.
Got him.
Oh, danger time for Orcs and Jokerism. The good thing the Ignite was dropped down there does kind of put the pressure on them to back off and allow Orcs to live, because he was in a very bad spot there. No man on Jokerism for the Boomerang Blade as well, so unfortunate timing on them to potentially get a kill on Orcs.
It was well escaped by CreamEl in that mid lane until he leapt over the wall straight into the middle of two. Thankfully for him, Taxa was waiting and lurking, wanting revenge on Scudzy, and did manage to pick up D.Va. And we mentioned earlier, they want to try and make sure that Talon has the advantage in this lane, because if he can roam, Taliyah's stuck in the mid lane, unable to roam because she doesn't have enough impact in the side lanes.
Yes, he's got the 4 CS lead, and he's matching an assist at the moment. He's picked up 2 longswords, obviously going towards the Dirk or going towards the Caulfield's Warhammer. Either two. Usually Dirk is picked up first. It just helps because you're going to be killing a lot of minions, getting that damage boost. And the boots as well. I think that's essential in this matchup for him to be able to dance around Taliyah's spells.
CreamEl spied out Scudzy, trying to take some more away from the jungle.
Scudzy, you've had enough, mate.
Stop being so greedy, man.
Go, call a taxi. Go home, mate.
Call a taxer and go home, mate.
Call a taxer. Well, the taxman is here to take his tax, and it's going to be on D.Va. There's the pop. So much damage from Talon. You cannot let those free procs come on and pop that bleed.
That's generally the most favorable trade that comes through for Talon, but it works great as an execute as well, especially when combined with the Ignite, which he's taken here. My question is, when does he start roaming now? Because he's about to hit level 6. Does he instantly go and try and make an appearance in the bot or top lane? And if so, which one does he choose to prioritize? Because if you look towards the top lane, you've got 2 huge tanks here, and Igloo will literally just ult Shikari and walk away if the Talon shows up. If you go to the bot lane, you've got to deal with Jokerism, who's very, very quick and can easily keep himself safe.
So what you do is, I think, as Talon, you head towards, you try and get control of the enemy's jungle in terms of vision, and you take a path so that you're behind them, so they have to run into you. And if I'm Talon, I'm going for Karma. I'm not going for Jokerism. Jokerism can spell shield. It will mess up the sequence for his proc on his abilities, because you need to hit 3 of those abilities. Either send out the W and have it return to get 2 procs, then you also need to hit up with the Q. I would hit Karma, because that's not going to be negated. You'll land it all, you'll blow her up, you'll get the proc, which is the bulk of his damage, if combined with that Thunderlord's Decree.
I
love the, by the way, I just love that we're seeing Talon, because I've been playing a lot of Talon recently. I know the combos and stuff, so I love it.
Sorry, mate, you can be color caster if you want.
No, I'm not going to color cast it. One of the combos that he probably needs to do on Taliyah is probably go for the leap combination rather than the melee. He's not going to get in melee range. So you Q in, then you follow up with the W. The Q will give you less damage because you have to leap, so it won't give the double damage. Then you use the W to get the rake both in and out, 2 procs, auto attack, kill.
I love it. You know, a champion.
I know one champion out of all the heroes. It's only because I've been spamming him a lot. But here's the ultimate. We talked about this. You have to force him away from the tower. Taxa goes in, forces the flash from Scudzy. They will miss the CC. Meanwhile, CreamEl going straight onto D.Va. Didn't get the proc. There's the ult that's missed. And CreamEl just taps him. But in the meantime, Rek'Sai, Scudzy did pick up Taxa. I'm imagining, based on the location of that, he went behind the tower, got himself in a difficult position, just couldn't get himself out. It's another kill. Going out to Scudzy. 2-0-0 at the moment.
Yeah, bot lane tower as well. He's looking pretty low. In fact, it's going to go down first.
First brick going over to Enclave. They're going to trade towers, but I know which one I'd prefer. I'd prefer that first brick, Des.
Absolutely. And for no massive map movement required, no support from the jungler. However, look behind them. CreamEl's on his way down.
Yeah, he's got the Assassin's Path. Going to back off, though, I think. I don't think he's going to stay for this one, because Jokerism is gone. They're not committing to try and get more damage on the tower.
And there goes the tower.
Matches it. Do they lane swap now?
They kind of already have.
Do they lane swap back?
Did the lane swap back?
Or does Enclave's lane go top?
No, you send your top lane back top here, so Shikari goes back top. Now that you've got that top tower, he can sit there pretty safely. If they still had their bot tower, yes, you would send in there to go and sit and defend it. But here, they probably try and look towards the Drake, or they look towards the mid lane towers, because as we saw in the last game, once they drop, your possible vision control is huge. Technically,
they have lane swapped, because exceL have gone back bot, and Enclave have gone top.
Kind of a lane swap.
Well, they swapped the lanes they were in.
Who are you on about, exceL or Enclave?
exceL and Enclave have both lane swapped.
Yeah, you're on about exceL. I said, yeah, Shikari goes top and you send your laners back to bot lane, and then you look towards mid or Drake or so on and so forth. I can't say I had a look at Enclave.
Wow.
You look so proud of yourself.
That sounds like a you problem, as Igloo is about to have a him problem, being knocked back, no one to really steal stats from, because Krumel has already chunked him beyond half his HP. The Rake, the Ignite, will seal the deal.
It's a strange one, because Talon is regarded as being this great roamer that can make kills happen across the map, very much so like Talia. But here, he's got 3 kills in lane, hasn't made a roam anywhere yet.
He hasn't had to. The kills have come to him. It's not even against his mid laner, like, junglers are running at him.
They are.
Well, it is against his mid laner. But he's coming with assist as well. The junglers have come at him as well. Jokerism, Nightmares, working on this tower. In the meantime, you've got the bot lane of exceL doing the exact same thing. There's no resistance from Enclave on the bottom tower. However, there is for exceL at the top. So guess what? They're going to trade. We're not going to trade a tower. They're just going to gain a tower advantage right now.
Yep, Talon has been spotted out coming across well. Kareem will know where he is. And Tower will actually remain safe here. They just don't want to deal with this 3-0 Talon that could probably melt through any one of them given the time.
Absolutely. And you talked about why exceL would rotate down to the bot lane. They've got that tower. They're moving on to the Drake. Igloo having to back off away from Inax at the moment as well. Cloud Drake going to help with the regeneration, but they're still committing to the top lane. They know they've lost Dragon. They're trying to get something back, and with Talon rotating back to mid, they're going to get this top tower. But Tower and Dragon for a tower? Trade still goes in the favor of exceL.
Yeah, both bot lane towers on either side down, well, both bot lane and top lane towers for either side now down. It's just a mid lane remaining. So this is where maybe you see the massive clash of teams where they all come together in the mid and they start fighting for control in this mid lane. Because like I said earlier on, you get one and vision control is in the enemy side of the jungle. It's all yours to take.
Ace in the hole to get the early damage. Taxa from the side. Oh, nice flash from D.Va, and Taxa will miss it. Knocks Taxa back in the tower range, trying to at least trade a kill. But D.Va will get out. Barrier pop to keep her alive. Wild Growth on Taxa. Make sure he stays healthy as well, but that mid lane is taking quite the beating.
It was almost a perfect prediction from Taxa as well, but just not quite getting there. Rek'Sai's going now, it's a good thing.
Oh, there's a disengage, explosive cast. Caitlyn will pick up the kill, but that was mainly Talon's damage coming out. Igloo in the middle. Shikari. He has the ult onto Shikari. He's so vulnerable now after he's been Trundled. And look at the damage coming out. Krumel gets the kill, flashes out. Jokerism flashes in for a kill of his own. Shikari going aggressive yet again. Here's the ultimate to try and lock someone up. Does find Karma. Inax is not in range. He gets one hit. Doesn't get the second because of the shield. So close there. exceL. A lot of their members on life support right now. Weaver's Wall, interesting. Caitlyn's still in range to deal damage to the
pretty
tower.
sure it's the first ult of the game as well.
It's an interesting decision because Caitlyn, like I said, still in range to take the tower. Didn't really stop anything, I don't think. Maybe it stopped Shikari getting a few water attacks in there, but your biggest problem when taking towers is Caitlyn, not Maokai.
I think it's more of a case there of, look guys, I'm trying, okay? Stop being so hard on me.
I don't think they're going to be that hard on D.Va in a competitive game. They've seen what the Talon's capable of now. Gone for the Air Jordans with that Duskblade, so we wanted to see mobility from Talon. The Jordans tell me mobility.
And yeah, he's not really roaming much. He's had the occasional wander down to bot lane to try and maybe make something happen or to clear it out, but that's it. But as I said, all of his kills will come onto his laner.
But you got to look, top lane, bot lane, both absence of outer towers.
Absence of champions as well, mostly.
Yeah, but he doesn't, I don't think he has the need to go and gank that because the laning phase for those top and bot lanes are over. He's got to look for picks in the jungle, picks the support lanes when they get ganked, counter ganks on that side. But also you can see he's just holding off the strays of his own lane in case someone gets too aggressive. Duskblade will help him spot that ward, but it also shows him that he's not as sneaky as he thinks he is.
No, definitely not. But it was a ward that came over as he was stood there waiting to make a play happen. But it's still a Talon just sticking to this mid lane. And I don't want to sit here and fault him because it's working out really well for them. You know, he is flat out shutting D.Va down and not even enabling him to make an impact elsewhere in the game.
Let's have a look at how everyone else across the board is doing. We're about 10 minutes in. Igloo, he has one more assist than Shikari, but the big difference between him and his opposing top laner is the CS differential. He's got nearly 40 CS on his opposing laner. So, I'm not surprised here that he's going to be a bit of a monster in the late game. But carrying it forth, the only person who's in the lead really in CS, a bit of a massive lead, is the Talon. But he's so far ahead as this fight for Rift Herald begins. There's the ultimate from Shikari. Igloo has already ulted him to bring him back down to size. But exceL in the middle, going for Scuds. He finds the kill with the pop and the ult. Guess what? There's more. Igloo, his ultimate's run out, and Shikari looking for the kill. Inax is the one who picks it up. And Jokerism, what are you doing in the middle of 4 members of the enemy team? exceL looking for more, but Enclave is just in disarray as Rift Herald is going to go over to exceL.
So it's probably one of the more predictable games of the evening, and it's the way that it's slowly working out. Admittedly, not at the pace at which I expected it to. And we've seen games today that have been a little more crushing on the side that we expected to lose. Enclave in their own right have put up a bit of a fight everywhere except the mid lane.
What terrifies me is that exceL can pick up the mid inner here if they're fast enough, and they still have Rift Herald available. They have an inhibitor tower to use Rift Herald on. They can crack open this base very quickly under the right circumstances.
They can, it's just a case of where you use it. But you look elsewhere around the map, and in terms of what's going on for like Jokerism, for example, is he's still not having the impact that we thought he would have. He's 1-on-1-on-1. He's 2-0 against a Caitlyn who's 2-0-3. And we've already said that Caitlyn, when protected correctly, is the one who is going to be able to scale a lot better into the late game.
Yeah, absolutely. 2-0-3, slightly down in CS, but the kills are making up for it, if I'm honest with you, Des. Caitlyn's going to be in an absolute monstrous position, but at the moment, it is all about this Talon in the mid lane. He is going to keep this team going through the mid, and Talia, I mean, it's a stark contrast from what we saw last time.
I got booted a lot for this.
You got booted for Talia?
For Talia, yeah.
Talia.
Talia.
So Talia in the mid lane. I mean, last time
I'll take the bullet for you there. So I've already been there, mate. Don't worry.
That's fine.
It hurt.
Thank you very much, friend. You're always there for me.
And Fred's not Fredesta, just in case you hadn't already been told.
Yeah, I've been told multiple times now. Thank you very much, Des.
No worries, mate.
Dad, whatever. But the point I'm trying to make before you rudely interrupted me was Talia.
Don't talk to your father like that.
Has been played only once in the Prem, barring this match.
Yep.
When she was played, had ridiculous numbers, huge KDA, huge impact on the game. It's a stark contrast to see that pick being shut down by the likes of a Talon.
I mean, equally here, you have to remember what teams were playing the first time around Natalia was played, and I'll be honest, I don't remember who they were. But
it escapes me at this time.
Yep, it does. But it also, that's the influences the stats as well. In this game, you could sit and go, oh, well, she was played once and she got absolutely crushed, so there's no point in picking her again.
I think it was, no, actually, I remember. I think it was Paris Gree who played it on Singularity.
Okay, that's surprising, actually, because they've got Deadly on side as well, and prolific AD carry play. You expect them to kind of roll through their opponents, but alas, wasn't to be.
I think it was Paris Gree who played Talia.
Yes.
I think.
Either way.
Maybe.
The point kind of stands that in this game, it was an expected kind of outcome from the beginning. We said Enclave are probably not going to be able to beat down exceL here, and as it stands right now, they're looking no closer to being able to beat them. Even looking at the Trundle in the top lane, 0-3, mid lane is 0-4. It's not a pretty outcome for them thus far, or at least the outcome that we're heading towards.
Well, thankfully, we have unpaused, I believe, so that means we're going to see the resumption of this game. Whether it will play out badly for them remains to be seen, but if I was a betting man, I'd be putting it all on exceL right now. Fortunately, I am.
My only concern is somewhat with this Talon as well, in that once you get towards the late game, he doesn't have the same burst potential that old Talon used to have. You need to get those 3 stacks to be able to really make anything happen. And even then, you can shield it, you've got the Karma on side, you can heal away from it, you can flash, you've got the spell shield. There's a lot of things, I think, to almost keep Jokerism safe. It just depends if you choose to go on D.Va, who's even going towards a Zhonya. So soon enough, I think we might start seeing exceL quieten down a little bit and not being able to run away with the game as much as he has thus far.
I think you overestimate how hard it is to get those 3 blocks on Talon. Especially when you're this far ahead.
I think it's quite hard.
I think it's, well, in the position that exceL's in right now, I think the only target he might have a little bit of difficulty with is Jokerism because of the spells.
And don't forget, you need those 3 procs and then to auto-attack as well. So you need to be able to stick to them for long enough.
Yeah, you use the spell rotation, ult, then get the auto-attack while you're in stealth, with the movement speed boost, and then you get out.
You can use the ult to get that 3 stacks and then get the auto, but it depends if you get the auto in time. If you're instantly CC'd by like a Rek'Sai knock-up or whatever else it might be, there's things that can disrupt you from being able to get off that nice combo. It takes time to pull off.
Yeah, absolutely, but something that doesn't take a lot of time to pull off, a Rift Herald being used on a bot lane tower. That's going to go down extremely quickly. Inax setting up a trap line, stopping them from coming forward. They're not going to be able to burst through this. It's tanking the tower for Taxa to get a little bit in range, but takes a bit of damage for his worries. They might not actually get the tower. I don't know if they should have waited for the wave before engaging that one. But it's done the damage it needs to. It won't take very long for Inax to finish that off.
Yeah, take this tower, take Drake, go back, take top lane inner, ward at the jungle, and take Baron. That is their game plan for the next few minutes.
While this is going on, Talon is keeping pressure in the mid lane. Krumel's about to hit that inhibitor tower. They've sent Scudzy to deal with him. I still think Krumel could kill Scudzy if he goes on him. So, and you know, you don't associate Rek'Sai with excellent wave clear. I mean, he's got the AoE on his Q auto attack, but it's not someone you send to clear waves.
You definitely don't send D.Va either, given the damage that she's taken so far.
I mean, supposed to be a weaver of walls at the moment, just a weaver of ragdolls. Just nothing at the moment. But we hope that changes. I mean, she has gone heavy in the resistance in her builds. Ninja Tabai, Seeker's Arm Guard. Basically, I think she bought the item that builds into Morella Nomicon, was looking towards that, but had to switch because of how the lane was going.
Because Kremel has just been wrecking. Yeah.
Yep, Dragon number 2 going over to exceL, a second Ocean Drake. So the regen and the amount of time that this team can spend out on the Rift before going back just keeps increasing with each Ocean Drake. It's bad news for Enclave, because when you start getting to the late game and you've got a Talon who's gonna hit will hit that 40% CDR with his build, will have about a 37-second cooldown on his level 3 ult, and he doesn't have to go back because he's just constantly getting regen by Ocean Drake. Bad news for you. There's no way. Like, the fight will end, your respawn times will be longer than his ult cooldown, so you'll always be at a deficit if Krumel plays this right and the game lasts that long.
It's a point we used to touch on an awful lot in the past, but with the introduction of things like lethality and all the other item changes, it hasn't really been mentioned for a long time, but picking like basically a full AD team is suicide, because the other side just stacks armor and will win the game in the late game. Here, you've got the Maokai, not really got too much magic damage, and it's the same for Taxa. All the reliance on damage has come from Inax and from Kremel. They need to be able to get into a good position to lay down the damage that they've accumulated thus far. Otherwise, where do the threats really come from? You find yourself in a very tough spot where you do still have this very tanky front line for Enclave, but their damage at least is split between the two damage types.
Even Lulu is going down the supportive build at present. I mean, you get a little bit of AP from Ardent Sensor, and she's probably got AP in her rooms to a degree.
It's enough to tickle you, I think.
Yeah, but it's not an impact. I mean, if you want damage from Lulu, you build AP damage. You can't really get it innately because of the scaling. But so you're not really getting AP from there. There's not. It seems like the 3 members have just innate AP that kind of combine to combined AP damage of one champion, if you know what I mean. The lessened impact will combine by the powers like Voltron coming together. Voltron reference. No one gets it.
No one.
5 mini lion bots join together to make one big lion bot.
Okay.
If you've seen Deadpool, you get that. Come on, guys. You must have at least seen Deadpool.
I've seen Deadpool. Just don't get the rest.
Right, okay. Well, you Philistine.
Production.
Yeah.
You're the nerd. Come on. Anyway, looking at the builds coming through now as well. I mean, for Scudzy, at the stage where he's the most fed member on the team and still not doing particularly well, it's a bit of a killer. He's a full tank and being decimated by this pretty much full AD team. You know, it's not. You can't ignore the magic damage that's coming out of the Maokai and out of the Gragas, because it's still enough that you have to be aware of it, I feel. But right now, no one's really tanky enough. The Trundle has gone for the Hydra first item. Scudzy, yes, he's got the Knight's Vow to try and keep his AD carry a little bit more safe, it feels. And D.Va, still yet to finish an item at 20 minutes in.
Well, that's another tower basically coming out for exceL. Krumel did get wedged between the pillar.
Just jumped over the pillar.
Yeah, that's one of the interactions that has a problem with. And because the terrain technically is new every time it's put up, he'll be able to jump over it every time Trundle puts it up. That's not a mechanic we talked about, how he's got a basically free get out of jail card whenever Trundle puts a pillar. Yeah, I bet Krumel's loving that interaction right now.
Until Ornn comes along and smashes it down.
Very true.
Be excited.
That's gonna be interesting as well. What is Krumel like? Krumel's gonna have all these options denied from him, or Talon more specifically gonna have these options denied from him because of Ornn destroying thing. I mean, think of the heroes that are gonna be affected by Ornn's release: Jarvan, Trundle, Taliyah, Anivia. Am I missing any?
But you kind of have to also ask how many champions rely on those things to be effective. Jarvan, for him, it's the dunk damage these days. It's not so much about locking them in.
Anivia definitely relies on it in lane.
But when are you going to see Ornn in lane against an Anivia? Please explain to me. Backtrack, please. That's right.
Maybe Ornn has played mid lane. He's not been released yet.
No. Don't talk to me.
Right, but then definitely the Taliyah. if your team's going to get cut off by an aggressive Taliyah wall, you can break your way free of that.
It depends. I've never actually seen if it's segmented or not. This is an interesting interaction that I think we're going to have to find out about.
We will have to. But I imagine you would at least be able to clear a path big enough for your team to get through.
You'd hope.
You know, you might have to funnel a little bit, which poses its own dangers, but you could still get through that wall and not be completely shut off. Speaking of shut off, the river completely closed to Enclave at the moment. They have no vision in the river across either side of the map. And, well, look at that. Only in their own side. They can barely see where exceL is moving. Whereas exceL, they have a pretty good idea of where everyone is at the moment. At least they know where it is safe. Going to clear out that one bit of vision they have on the red side. Prey Seeker doing wonders for scudzy, being that beacon in the darkness that is his own jungle.
It's a tough one because if you step too far forward, you might just find yourself getting burst out. It doesn't matter if you're the tank on your team. You're still pretty squishy.
Scudzy's got to have Burrow here available. Yeah, there you go. He gets out the safety. Can't clear that control ward though, so still exceL remain control in that side of the jungle. And they've just been stalling out Enclave. Talon is now back on the field. He's got his Black Cleaver, Duskblade. He's going to be building towards that Youmuu's, potentially Edge of Night, depending if he wants the extra survivability. And it's not going to be very good for them. Nightmare's taking a lot of damage. Has to flash the explosive cast. Jokerism even pops the ultimate to get her out as well. So Flash, ultimate being traded for Tax's explosive cask. And you've got one player going back, Trundle in the bot lane. Baron Nashor time for exceL.
And that's your engage tool gone there with Jokerism no longer having that ultimate available to him. scudzy needs to work some magic here though.
He's being shut down by the skeptic that is Talon. No magic here as Krumel is on the hunt for Taliyah. Burst the combination.
Taliyah
will be taking the Baron, but Taliyah, there you go. The Ignite, the barrier comes out. One more auto attack does the trick. He chooses the Empowered to really seal the deal. Krumel 6-1 and 3 at the moment. Igloo did take that bot lane tower, but exceL, Baron Nashor and a kill. It's still all going in the side of exceL.
Look at the gold difference as well. 24 minutes in, 10k gold lead. Baron on side. A Talon that you still can't even walk near when you're the tankiest member on your team. scudzy just completely zoned off by him. Even though it was really a 2v1 for Enclave there, they had the advantage.
Did they? They had the numbers advantage. But did they have the practical advantage?
I was too busy when I finished the word advantage and I was like, let me think about that for a second. No. They did not have the power advantage, that's for sure.
If you just define it as a numbers advantage.
Yes, maybe I should have preluded it with the word. Then we'd be okay.
Semantics at this point. exceL moving on to their third Drake of the game. Going to be a Cloud Drake helping with the roams. Krumel moving back into that mid lane. Just trying to keep it constantly pushed. You can see Shikari, 004, still about 60 CS behind his opposing lane, but he's going to start pushing that up, let the wave catch up to where Inax is, start applying pressure on the bot side of the map.
One thing we haven't really touched on that I think is quite important to mention is that there's 2 Ocean Drakes on the side of exceL here as well. They can afford to roam around for a few seconds and they'll have most of their health and mana back, so they can stay here a lot longer than what Enclave can.
Absolutely, and you know, Enclave, they're going to have to travel back to their spawn platform, and these are going to create windows where exceL can chip away at these towers, siege these towers, and eventually break into the base and start bringing this game to a close. Enclave, they've been on life support too long now. I think it's time exceL do the honorable thing, the kind thing, and just pull the plug.
Pull the plug on the tower so it falls into the ground?
No, pull the plug on the team. Because
quite dark connotations sometimes, Fred.
Yeah, my mind goes to dark places. But I think it's an apt analogy of this game.
It does feel like it sometimes, although there's no real support for them to kind of be here on for the plug to be pulled on, let's be honest. They have no foundation on which to build on to try and come back into this game, because who, realistically looking at that team, is going to have to point this one as Shikari goes quite low.
Needs the wild growth to keep him alive, so they didn't abuse the windows we spoke about. They were just like, we can brute force this. And they're doing a good job of it, but they do put themselves in a very vulnerable position as Inax just popping out crits on the Jokerism. He has to back off. So that's one inhibitor going down for them right now. They've still got pressure in the mid lane, and look at the size of that wave in top lane. They're going to be able to rotate round to that shortly after the mid lane.
I don't think they'll be able to get there in time, purely because by the time they get up there, Jokerism will have already cleared it out. They can look more towards this mid lane, I think, which is probably more important at this point. Although, Jokerism...
Here's the litmus test. Can Krumel kill Jokerism with the spell shield? No, he can't, because scudzy is there for the save. Wait, no, guess again, he goes in with the kill. Scudzy might be able to do it. He's got Assassin's Path.
Oh!
Gets him with the smite.
The Prey Seeker, wasn't it?
No, it was the smite. Came in from the roof,
It definitely wasn't.
Wait, smite? No, yeah, you're right.
Definitely not, mate.
Got him with Prey Seekers. Des, I concede. Taxa. Disengaging Scudzy. Shikari went for a ride through that underground tunnel, but while that commotion was going on in top lane, middle lane tower taken down, and the inhibitor soon to follow. 2 inhibs down on the side of Enclave. This opens up the map perfectly for exceL to either brute force their way into the base or siege top lane and cause a zero-sum decision for Enclave.
Enclave's almost trying to force his way in here, mate. Bit of enough more than he can chew, though.
He's on Shikari. He has got the tank stats. Shikari looking like he goes down there. Thankfully, he had flash available. Going to get them out. Inax, last man out, which I definitely think shouldn't be the case.
But let's hark back a couple of minutes to when exceL had that engage onto Jokerism. It took him a bit of a while to bring down a 1 and 2 Sivir. At this stage in the game, despite him having 3 or 4 items, it still took him a long amount of time. And this is what we said earlier on. Talon will start falling off as you get towards the late game. Yes, he comes with damage, but he needs time to be able to enact that damage onto the enemy team. So I'm thinking potentially here, you need to look at Inax. He's currently 2-0 and 3. He's on 3 items. He's looking towards his 4th right now. Once he gets there, it's almost like exceL can take a step back and go, right, guys, I'm going to go and sit and split push. It's what I'm good at. I'm going to leave this on to you, Inax. But for now, there's this horrible kind of midpoint where it feels like Inax's advantage is quite fragile. And if caught out by Scudzy and by Jokerism, he will get melted down very quickly.
I like the decision by D.Va, quickly, just touch on this, to not build the Zhonya's just yet. Because I think she realizes she's not the target of Talon anymore. Talon's played with his food, not interested anymore. He wants Jokerism. And so it gives D.Va a little bit more time to focus on getting some bigger stats, some MR shred, some AP, some mana regen, building towards that Liandry's before completing the Zhonya's Hourglass, because the earnest isn't so much on him to keep himself alive because he's not the target of Talon. He very well could be, though. exceL could decide, Jokerism's too hard, I'm going to go for the easy meal and take out Talia instead.
Jokerism continuing his strange builds, but nonetheless, he's still trying to remain relevant. Here comes the ult.
Well, they haven't got Talia ult, but they're definitely using Sivers. Bring back Shikari. He tries to get himself out with the Twisted Advance. Explosive cast to disrupt the fight, but Scudzy still on the front line. Shikari, a couple more ticks should do it, but no, not going to work out. Inax's damage is deterring the advance of Enclave. And Shikari, he's going to go back wounded, but exceL can still push this one in. Sivir looking for the wave clear, but Inax is getting those taps on the tower. Teleport to keep the minion alive. This gives Inax free roam to take down the tower. That's going to be the 3rd base tower going down for Enclave, and the inhibitor, it could follow because exceL is joining the rest of the team. He's gone on Igloo. There's the damage. Scudzy goes in. He will die. exceL still on Igloo. Ignite is down onto the Trundle. He's using the ultimate to get into range. There's the knock-up, and the bleed will finish him off as Nightmares and D.Va flashing away on an inch of health. A double kill for exceL will secure this game for exceL. As Scudzy dives back in, he can't take on 5 members of the team. Triple kill for exceL. Can they give him the Penta if they keep throwing bodies at him, which they need to do? He could well pick it up here, but D.Va on the side, making Orcs go low. Inax separated him from the base at the moment. There is the ultimate from Maokai to shut him down perfectly. It doesn't matter. Game over. exceL take down Enclave 15-4.
And in relatively convincing fashion, although it didn't feel like a game where exceL were completely crushing them, I think, in a lot of ways.